Have you ever stopped and wondered, what if the AI we're building isn't actually a new form of intelligence at all? What if it's something totally different? Well, today we're digging into a really powerful idea from philosopher Shannon Vallor that completely reframes that question. It suggests we're not building a new mind, we're building a giant mirror. And what we see in it, well, that's all on us.
So let's start with a story you probably remember. Back in 2022, a Google engineer named Blake Lemoine made headlines everywhere. He was convinced that Lambda, an AI he was working with, had become sentient, that it was a person. Now, this wasn't just some random guy. He was an expert who knew this tech inside and out. So the real question is, how could he get it so spectacularly wrong? The answer, it turns out, has very little to do with the machine and everything to do with us.
And this is where Shannon Vallor's core idea comes in, the AI mirror. She argues that Lemoine wasn't talking to a new mind, he was looking into a mirror. See, these systems don't actually think for themselves. What they do is reflect back to us, with incredible complexity, everything we've ever fed them. All our writing, our history, our art, our entire digital ghost. They're just showing us who we are.
Okay, so if it's a mirror, what exactly are we seeing when we look into it? Well, let's just say the reflection isn't always flattering. So what is this AI mirror, really? Think of it like this. It's a mathematical model built from the collective digital exhaust of humanity. Every article ever written, every dumb social media post, every historical document, every piece of art we've scanned, all of it gets mashed together to train this model. It's not thinking, it's just recognizing and repeating the patterns it found in our own data.
And here's where we hit a major snag. We have this dream that AI will be this perfectly logical, objective thing that helps us fix all our problems. But that's not what happens. Because it's trained on our messy, complicated human stuff, the mirror doesn't show us a better version of ourselves. It shows us the ugly parts, our hidden biases, our history of injustice, all the flawed values we'd rather pretend don't exist.
And look, this isn't just theory. These are real, documented cases where the AI mirror didn't just show our biases, it supercharged them. Amazon's hiring tool learned to be sexist because it was trained on a decade of biased human decisions. That Dutch algorithm, it led to thousands of kids being wrongly torn from their families. The reflection in this mirror has serious, real-world consequences.
Let's take the Compass algorithm, which was used in the U.S. court system to predict who might reoffend. The data is just stark. It was almost twice as likely to falsely flag black defendants as being high risk compared to white defendants. And here is the truly wild part. The algorithm was never told anyone's race. It was just smart enough to find proxies for race in the data, perfectly reflecting and then automating a deep systemic bias.
So if the reflection is that broken, what happens when we can't look away? What are the real dangers of staring into this AI mirror for too long?
Vallor points out three huge dangers here. First, there's the Narcissus trap. Then we have the looking glass illusion. And finally, and this one is maybe the most crucial, the loss of moral space.
So, the first danger, the Narcissus trap. You know the Greek myth, right? The guy who falls in love with his own reflection and starves to death staring at it? Well, that's the trap for us. We get so hypnotized by what AI shows us about our past that we become paralyzed. We're facing huge problems like climate change that demand brand new ways of thinking, but our AI tools just keep spitting back variations of the old thinking that created the problems.
The second danger is the looking glass illusion. Right now, everyone is panicking about a Skynet-style AI takeover. It feels so modern, so urgent, but it's not. Vallor points out that people had the exact same fears in 1872 about steam engines. This isn't really about a new threat from technology. It's about us projecting our own ancient human anxieties about power and control onto our latest invention.
Now for the third and maybe most profound danger. This gets into an idea called the space of reasons. It sounds academic, but it's actually really simple. It's the shared social world where we humans ask each other why. It's where we give reasons for what we believe and do. It is, quite literally, the foundation of knowledge, science, and morality.
And here's the problem.
AI models do not live in this space. They operate completely outside of it. They don't have reasons. They are just incredibly sophisticated pattern matchers. Their goal is not to be correct. Their goal is to sound plausible.
This makes generative AI the ultimate bullshitter. And I mean that in the philosophical sense. See, a liar knows the truth. They're actively trying to conceal it. But a bullshitter is worse. They are completely indifferent to the truth. Their only goal is to be persuasive. And that perfectly describes a large language model. It doesn't care if what it says is true or false, only that it sounds right.
So here's the bottom line. When we start handing over our thinking, our judgments, our decisions to these incredibly effective bullshitters, we risk what Vallor calls moral diskilling, our ability to reason, to debate, to justify our choices. It's like a muscle, and if we stop using it, it will atrophy.
Okay, I know that all sounds pretty grim, but this is not a story about doom and gloom. Because here's the thing, if we are the ones creating the reflection in the mirror, then we have the power to change it. But this raises a huge paradox, what Vallor calls the bootstrapping problem. How on earth are we supposed to pull ourselves up into a better future when the very tools we're using are built from the flawed material of our past? It's a genuine puzzle.
The answer, she argues, is that we need a radical shift in what we value. We have to move on from the Silicon Valley virtues of disruption, scale, and optimization at all costs. Instead, we need to embrace a new set of techno-moral virtues. Things like care, repair, restoration, and my personal favorite, virtuous relinquishment, which is just the wisdom to know when an idea is bad and it's time to let it go. And if we make that shift, if we change our goals, then AI can become something completely different. It doesn't have to be a tool that's constantly trying to replace people. It can become a powerful instrument for human solidarity, for bringing us together.
So what does that actually look like? Well, imagine an AI that helps build networks for mutual aid, connecting someone who needs a ride to the doctor with the neighbor who can help. Or an AI that helps scientists translate complex research for policymakers. Or one that helps indigenous communities bring back lost languages from old texts. The goal shifts from automating us to augmenting us.
Ultimately, we have to reject this narrative that we're just passengers sleepwalking into a future that technology builds for us. We are the pilots. It's a fun fact that the ancient Greek word for a pilot or a steersman is Kubernetes, which is the root of our word cybernetics. We are supposed to be the ones steering.
And as Vallor puts it so perfectly, steering doesn't mean turning our backs on technology. It means we have to reclaim it, wield it as an instrument for the things that really matter, like care and responsibility and serving each other.
So we're left with this. The AI mirror gives us this incredibly powerful and sometimes incredibly painful look at who we have been, our glories, and all of our flaws. But the mirror cannot and it must not decide our future for us. The reflection shows our past. The choice of who we become next, that is, and it